Namaskar and a very good morning, everyone. This ingenious seminar will host and, in fact, feature such a robust roster of handpicked, informative, as well as engaging sessions spearheaded by some of our legit thought leaders. And may I invite our very own, our acclaimed General Officer who has selflessly rendered service to our nation. To set the ball rolling and to deliver and render the welcome address, may I take the pleasure of inviting on the days Lieutenant General Dushyant Singh, retired former Corps Commander, Commandant, Army War College and Director General, Clause. Sir, please.
At the outset, good morning, ladies and gentlemen. I am delighted to welcome each and every one of you to today's seminar focused on the theme Technology Absorption in the Indian Army, Empowering the Soldier. The Chief had announced this particular theme on the Army Day, and I was at that point in time in Lucknow and was to join Clause very shortly. So I thought this should be my first mega event, and accordingly, here we are. It is indeed an honor for me to extend a very warm welcome to our patron, Chief of Army Staff, General Manoj Pandey, PVSM, AVSM, VSM, ADC, who will be delivering the inaugural address, which will also serve as a beacon for rest of the day's proceedings. I also extend a very warm welcome to Dr. Chintan Vaishnav, Managing Director, Atal Innovation Mission and member of Niti Aayog, who will set the stage for today's discussion with his keynote address and his experience as far as Atal Innovation Mission is concerned. A big welcome to all our distinguished speakers who will delve into details of today's seminar and discuss the challenges and solutions regarding technology absorption in the Indian Armed Forces. A special welcome to our industry partners, IMR. We sincerely appreciate your commitment to making this seminar a success. I'm sure we will learn a lot as we go along in this seminar. I also welcome the distinguished members of the diplomatic fraternity, senior serving and retired officers, academia, think tanks, and the future leaders in security and international relations to this seminar. The world is becoming a dangerous place with wars being waged all over the globe. As a result, countries have hiked their defense spending to a record level. Just to quote some figures, the total global defense spending last year stood at $2.4 trillion. Of this, 50% of the spending is done by US and China. US spends about $916 billion, China $296 billion, amounting to almost 1.2 trillion out of the 2.4, making it exactly 50%. Even Russia has hiked, of course, for obvious reason, its budget by 30%, amounting to $140 billion. And that's a huge amount, given the fact that Russia is not in the league of China or US as far as the economy is concerned. And the story is similar as far as Japan is concerned, a budget increase of 11%, amounting to $50 billion. Taiwan, again, a hike of 11% with a budget of about $17 billion. Surprisingly, West Asia, $200 billion. And possibly they have the highest percentage vis-a-vis GDP as far as defense spending is concerned, despite the fact that they have got an overall security umbrella of the United States of America. As far as the other countries are concerned, the story is similar, whether it is Africa, whether it is Latin America or Oceania or Pacific Island groups. India's defense spending of $83 billion pales in front of all this, especially when you consider the threats which we are facing opposite our northern borders and also western borders. On our northern borders, we have a tech giant. In fact, in certain technologies, they are already ahead and possibly the number one in the world. So therefore, in order to cater for our land continental threats, to cater for our maritime threats, and also internal threats which we face from time to time, I think $83 billion is an amount which needs to be enhanced significantly. The global conflict scenario has resulted in almost 2 billion people being affected by conflicts. If this is not world war, I don't know what is going to be world war. The big question which I want to highlight here in these figures which I quoted is that most of the spending is going for development of niche technologies. And that's where I think India also needs to focus on. India was left far behind as far as technological race was concerned in the past. But I think this time we need to be up there, and therefore we need to focus on these technologies such as artificial intelligence, machine learning, large language programming, quantum computing, space, cyber, and unmanned systems. We are all aware that the traditional concepts of warfare are rapidly giving way to other domains such as cyber, space, information, and cognitive domains. Rapid technological progress has been instrumental in reshaping the nature of warfare, making it highly asymmetric and blurring the boundaries between war and peace. Adversaries exploit the advantages of gray zone warfare, utilizing new tools across various domains. The conflict between Armenia, Azerbaijan, Russia, and Ukraine, Israel, and Hamas vividly illustrate the critical role of technology in modern warfare. In fact, technology has become an indispensable asset for conducting warfare effectively. I must also add that warfare is no longer the preserve of military alone. It demands a whole of nation approach. Therefore, in this dynamic environment, empowering and enabling the soldier to perform tasks more efficiently and effectively is crucial. The role of private sector has also expanded significantly, from leveraging satellite technology to production capacities, playing a fundamental role in military readiness. This seminar aims to underscore the necessity for militaries to be technologically proficient, capitalizing on present day technologies and preparing for future innovations. The first session will focus solely on the role of various players operating in India's defense industry, setting the tone for subsequent sessions aimed at fostering environment for open exchange of thoughts and ideas. The second session will delve into the impact of modern technology on the overall efficient functioning of the soldier on the ground, exploring ways in which technology is improving the decision support architecture of the Indian Army. The seminar will primarily address the pivotal role of advanced communication in facilitating decision making and shortening the OODA loop. In the concluding session, a blend of industry and military experts will brainstorm on leveraging current and specialized technologies to enhance soldier resilience. This session will deliberate on various concepts such as drones and counter-drone warfare, imperative of cyber resilience, and the emerging trends on human augmentation. I am delighted to announce that alongside the insightful discussion, this seminar is hosting an exhibition featuring a curated selection of products from Indian defense industry representing both the private and the public sector. This exhibition presents a valuable opportunity for military representatives from India and abroad to not only witness the industry products, but also gain insights into the future trajectories in the technological development in the country. I sincerely hope that every participant will internalize the lessons gleaned from this seminar and foster a collaborative atmosphere aimed at bolstering India's national security. I hope that our esteemed foreign dignitaries will consider integrating the insights gained from the seminar into fostering mutual cooperation and collaboration. Lastly, let us strive to cultivate an environment that encourages diverse discussion, drawing individuals from all walks of life to contribute to the empowerment and enablement of the soldier. I close my remarks with an important but telling statement. Let's ensure that technology serves us and not the other way around. Thank you, ladies and gentlemen. Jai Hind.
Thank you very much, sir. We are indeed gung-ho about the next-gen technologies that are here to support us. Well, ladies and gentlemen, our Honorable Prime Minister of India, Shri Narendra Modi, said this sometime very long back, that it is the software of India that shall move the hardware of the world. Atal Innovation Mission is a flagship initiative of the Government of India under the auspices of Niti Aayog. We are ecstatic to be mentioning that our keynote speaker, who is seated on the stage, is a senior lecturer at at MIT Sloan School of Management and a member of the founding team at MIT Tata Center for Technology and Design. Well, let us see what our respected keynote speaker, this experienced mind, takes out actually from his arsenal for us today. May I please invite and humbly invite Dr. Chintan Vaishnav, Mission Director, Atal Innovation Mission, to please render the keynote address. So please.
Thank you very much. Let me see. Here we go. Okay. A very good morning to all. Let me start by saying what a distinct honor this is for me to be speaking to you all of you who work hard day and night to protect our nation, your nations, and to take our nations forward under the leadership of Honorable Army Chief, whom you just heard from. And I have to say that until a few minutes ago, I did not know how well his address would set up what I want to talk to you about. He talked about the critical technologies that every nation needs, that it knows other nations may have, but they cannot get it. And how do you think about that? That's really what I want to go think about in the next 15, 20 minutes. Before I begin, though, I have to I have at least two other people to thank. DG Claus, Lieutenant General Dushyant Singh ji, who created this opportunity, as well as my colleague at Niti Aayog, Major General Narayanan, whom many of you know, who has arrived at Niti Aayog recently. And just in case you didn't know, under his leadership, Niti, which is a central think tank of the government of India, now has a defense group. So make use of it. I want to start by with a disclaimer. The chief already went over in great detail many technologies and the endeavors that are underway in the Army. I am not an expert in defense technologies, and so I can't pretend to be one. What I hope to do over the next 20 minutes or so, though, is to really talk to you about how to think about technologies, which is something that we at Atal Innovation Mission do. Now, last night, I was having dinner with a colleague who has been very actively engaged with the military technologies, and I told him that I'm going to speak at Klaus this morning, and he said, when you come back, I have only one question for you. What was the average age in that room? And I'm going to tell him the average age was 18 inside, because they were all talking about technology and innovation. So I want to take you through a three-phase conversation. The first, I want to start by saying a thank you to Defense, Ministry of Defense, all of you, for leading the way within the government of India when it comes to integrating technology into a sector. I'll say a little more about it in a little bit. Second, I want to say what is still unsolved. This is the question of that critical technologies. And third, I want to offer a perspective on how to think about the unsolved. So that's the agenda over the next few minutes. Now, let's start by so if I'm sure you have noticed that around across our nation, there's beginning to be this innovation and entrepreneurship ecosystem, which is vibrant. There's a lot of talk about startups and so on. And there may be a question as to where are we in this journey? I mean, are we close to getting done? Are we or when will we know that we are done? And I think one way to think about that question is to say that when every segment of our nation begins to feel confident that we can solve our problems or take on our opportunities through conventional means when required. But if the conventional means don't work, we are confident we can take those problems on with innovation. If that happens in sector after sector after sector, and the entire nation is engaged in that way, then I think we would have arrived. Now, on this journey, defense has taken a lead. Many of you may know about IDEX, which is the Innovation for Defense Excellence. They have so far, this is a platform that is engaging private sector creativity into addressing defense challenges. In other words, engaging startups, MSMEs, individual innovators. You throw a problem at them, they come up with a solution, you support them, you bring them to market, you procure from them. They have so far supported 450 odd startups in the last 3 years, spending about 1100 crores. That is 450 from the government, rest matching funds, etc. They have partnered with 28 incubators so far, and they are the first ministry that has been able to procure from startups in a relatively seamless way. This is the only program today in India, across Government of India. There are 14 ministries in Government of India that work on innovation in their own domains. This is the only program that can give up to 25 crore rupees. For my foreign friends, crore has a 7 zeros behind it. 25 crore rupees for a single startup. This is the only program that does it. So in other words, this is the program that is beginning to show other ministries how to integrate innovation into their sector. And might I add that this program, IDEX, was incubated at Atal Innovation Mission in its first 2 years. So congratulations to all of us. Now, the first thing I want to say is that IDEX is able to do what it can do because of the innovation ecosystem that's built around it. Let me tell you a little bit about it. I got some pictures here just in case I use my unique capability to induce some sleep in you, even early in the morning. This is a picture of a location map of Atal Tinkering Labs. These are maker spaces in schools. We have built 10,000 of them across 722 districts. We have so far sensitized about 11 million students with this idea of design, solving problems through design thinking. And about 160,000 innovative projects from schools have emerged from an endeavor like this. Let me share with you some examples, because in this land, in this land of ours, there is no dearth of creative thinkers from very, very young ages. This is a picture of Muhammad Zidain Yatu. He is from Kangan, which is a little north of Srinagar, a 4th grade student. He's showing me how he has built a racing game on a platform called Scratch, which is a programming platform for children. Now, Scratch was invented at MIT, which is where I have been teaching. I have met a large number of Scratch programmers all over the world, much older to this boy, but I have not seen a program of this sophistication built on Scratch. I can give you more examples. In Jammu and Kashmir, continuing, these are kids who are taking on problems that most of the nation doesn't even know exist, because these are local problems. For example, in Jammu and Kashmir, there was a set of school students who have built these carbon monoxide sensors activated windows in houses. When carbon monoxide level rises above a certain level, it just motorizes the motorized window opens up, and the people who are sleeping there are saved. Most of the nation would never solve this problem for them because they just don't know this problem exists. Similarly, in Sivakasi, down south of Madurai, there are children of laborers who work in the fireworks factory. All of us use fireworks in Diwali, etc. These children know that the highest risk activity in that process is the mixing of the chemical by hand. These children have built these automated drums for chemical mixing so that their parents can be saved from a fire accident. None of us would ever solve that problem because we don't know such a problem exists. Let me give you the last example. This was Mukesh Vispute. It's an 8th grade boy from Maharashtra. This boy has a prototype personalizing the electric fences at the borders or at the edges of a farm, such that if it is somebody known to the fence, that is our soldier, our cattle, it will not shock. But if it is somebody unknown, it will shock. These are problems these kids are taking on. And they are all this. The reason I'm giving you these examples is that these labs are all across the country. Wherever you go, there is a lab nearby, and there is an army of these innovators coming to help us. Right? Let me say a little more. At the older ages, we have built incubators. These are in colleges. They are in the industry. In our country today, these incubators support somebody to go from an idea to a startup. In our country today, there are over 1,000 incubators. What you see in these maps here is that on the left-hand side is the total number of incubators in a state or union territory. On the right-hand side, that same number divided by 1 million population to see how much access is there to incubation in that region. Now, there are many sector-specific incubators. There are 28 defense incubators at this point in IDEX's list. For example, textile, coffee, climate, you name it. There are people working on these types of innovations. So that's the other part of our ecosystem. Now, together, this infrastructure has supported a number of startups. As of yesterday, we have 124,000 plus startups registered in the DPIIT registry. You may say, well, a lot of people ask, what is a startup? Why are we so gaga about it? We have always had small businesses doing business. No, the difference is supposed to be that a startup is a small business that is whose bases are innovation and who's structured to uniquely scale. Think about Amazon, Flipkart, etc. Uniquely scale. Our mom and pop shop nearby has not uniquely scaled. So that's the kind of entity one is talking about. Here, what you see similarly as the last slide. Left-hand side, is a heat map, number of startups in a given state, union territory. Right-hand side, the same number divided by million. What the right-hand side map shows you is the job creation that's happening, because every startup creates about 11 jobs on average. And therefore, you will typically see people moving from lighter color states to darker color states. That's for work, right? So this is the this is the ecosystem behind the scene that is allowing something like IDEX to succeed. Now, the question is, what is not happening? So, if we step back a bit, the types of problems we are able to solve by engaging startups are those problems which are relatively smaller, easier to articulate, and where we know the technologies to build a solution. The problems that we are not able to solve are those problems that we know we have, where we know somebody else may have a solution, but we also know that such a solution is not available to us. That's the category of problem where we must solve our problems. That's the category we are yet to tackle through this platform. So the question is, how do you tackle it? And one answer is, we can tackle it with extreme creativity. That takes me to the phase 2 of our conversation. I'll go over the rest quickly. Now, as soon as I say extreme creativity, you might say, wait a minute. This is you're talking about extreme creativity to a set of people who are in the paradigm of extreme discipline. How are you, can these two coexist? And my answer from my experience of what is that a resounding yes. They can coexist. Let me give you an example. In the many places where I have had the good fortune of teaching innovation around the world, Schindler Elevator is one of them. You know that Schindler makes 30% of world's elevators. And elevators is a highly regulated industry because of safety reasons. If you walk into any of these factories, immaculate and highly disciplined factories anywhere in the world, your first thought will not be that this is a place for innovation anymore, because it's very regimented, right? But once you take this group of people through thinking about innovation and sort of and applying those tools, you realize that some amazing ideas begin to flow even in a very regimented setting. For example, a place like Schindler realizes that it has a billion, it comes in, the elevators that they build come in contact with 1 billion people every day all over the world. Imagine if you had a real estate like a screen on this elevator, which now we begin to see, and you could stream contextual advertising on the elevator, on elevator screen like Google does to us. That opportunity will completely dwarf the economic opportunity you've had through building the elevator in the first place. So in a highly disciplined environment, there is room for extreme creativity, and this creativity does not come as a threat to the discipline, because the regulatory compliance of the elevator is not compromised by doing it. Right? So this kind of combination is possible. I feel if somebody asked me to do a back of the envelope calculation, I would say that Indian Army, the armed forces, have a potential to hold 1,000 patents. You might say, how do you say that? I could say that because today in India, we have 105 patents for every million Indians. In Israel, the innovation nation, it's about 10 times. So 1,000 per million. In Army, there are 1 million people, and we have the same potential as anybody else. Therefore, I could say that we can get there. Now, the only thing is, and this is the last phase of my conversation, the only thing is we can't get there through incremental thinking, right? We can only get there through radical innovation. So the question is, what is radical innovation? So think about innovations that you experience that you would consider radical. An easy thumb rule is that if it really significantly changed your life, then there is something radical happening, right? That is sort of an experiential litmus test of it. Think about this innovation, the Wright brothers. What is radical about this? See, the objective of getting from point A to point B, we could even do before, right? we could do it through bullock cart, we could go on a horse, do a bicycle, whatever, go by boat. But what we couldn't do, the limitation on those various means was that they had to be touching some surface, right? So their speed, their reach was all determined by the nature of the surface on which they are. This innovation overcame that constraint of having to be on a surface. So that gives us a clue that every time we're able to overcome a fundamental constraint of a kind, you are doing something radical. And that's where those critical problems and solutions are. Let me share with you a small secret from an engineer. I'm an engineer. I know the chief is an engineer, so I was hoping that this is something that will be close to him. But engineers think of problems like this, right? So they say there's an objective. I'm trying to maximize it, minimize it, whatever. There are some input variables. I can turn the knobs, but these are knobs turned against some fundamental constraint that I can't really overcome very easily, right? So now. So the way to think about incremental versus radical is that when you are just turning the input knobs, but you are not overcoming the constraint. You are a bullock cart, you are a train, you are a bus, whatever. Not overcoming the constraint. You're doing something incremental, but the moment you identify and overcome a fundamental constraint, that is when you go radical, right? That's the formulaic thing. If you forget everything from what I've said today, this is one thing I would want you to think about. Let me give a very quick example. Old telephony, many of us, it predates all of us here. We're all 18, as I said. But the oldest version of telephony, person A wants to call person B. There's a human operator in the center who connects the cable, and you talk to each other. You see, there were many incremental innovations of this layout of the board itself so that the human being could connect more easily. But that was all against a fundamental constraint that a human couldn't go faster than 1 second per connection. You couldn't go faster than that because there was a human being in the center. Comes electromechanical switches, eliminates the human being, right? This is automatically a dial turns, makes a contact, you talk to the other person. Again, various versions of the dial, getting faster, cheaper, better, but all against a constraint that electromechanical switches had an arcing property, which is physics. You can't overcome that physics. That gets overcome through semiconductors and transistors and so on. So every time there's something fundamental that's getting overcome. So that, I feel, is our next journey through places like IDEX and other parts of the ecosystem that we have built to acknowledge these fundamental constraints. In any situation you are in, if you stop and are willing to stare at it hard enough, you will find that there is some fundamental constraint that is not allowing you to solve that problem. And then engaging with it with a radical innovation, with a deep tech. And the deep tech, I should say just one word about it. The word gets thrown around a lot also in media, etc. This is technology which creates new knowledge. That is the technology we want. And as I said earlier, the entire ecosystem and Atal Innovation Mission is with you in doing that. Thank you.